Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session, How to Configure HubSpot for ABM. My name is Jonathan Burg, and I'm going to be your host today for today's webinar. In my role as SVP of Revenue for New Breed, I'm responsible for really building the tools and the resources and creating an environment for New Breed people, our customers, and our broader community to be successful. And that's really the type of session that we're putting on today. And I'm joined by Jacque Turbett, who is one of the most prolific revenue operations professionals that I know. So really grateful to be spending the next little bit and learning from you here today. Jacque, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Thanks, Jonathan. Hi, everybody. Like Jonathan said, I am in RevOps. So I'm the senior manager of our RevOps service team here at New Breed. I've been here about 2.5 years, but RevOps has been my industry for about a decade now. I've done it across every platform you can imagine, and HubSpot is my favorite, hence why I landed at the top partner. So I didn't have to continue to convince people why it's the best.
Amazing. I was actually a customer of New Breeds in the past, and one of the reasons why I joined was because of the value that Jacque and team and others sort of deliver to myself. And now one of the things I love most about working at New Breeds is I get to work with people who have the most accreditations and deliver exceptional customer value and real results. At New Breed, we're on a mission to unlock meaningful growth. So we really accomplish that in a few different ways. First, everyone on this webinar, I believe, has invested in HubSpot and the integrated technology that's in your environment to achieve specific outcomes. At New Breed, we really want to understand what those outcomes are that are unique to you, and then apply tech-enabled services across revenue operations, migrations, implementations, demand generation, account-based marketing to achieve those outcomes. Second, we develop thought leadership and content like this session today, but also we are about to launch the 2024 State of HubSpot. So keep an eye out for it. We're going to be driving a good amount of awareness associated with the report, which is going to provide a lot of insights and tangible data for folks. We also create an environment for New Breed people and the community that they live in to achieve growth that is meaningful to them. All right. We've got a lot to cover today, and we're going to be really digging deep and going a level deeper into ABM, not just theory and best practice, but also technology and how HubSpot can really bring that theory to life across ideal customer profile alignment, customizable workflows, personalization, integrations with common ABM technology. So many of you joining the webinar today are probably here because you're asking the question, wouldn't it be easier if we knew who was actively buying our products and our solutions, and couldn't we engage them in the best possible way? So we author a lot of content and work with our partners to really demystify that. And we often find there are really 3 barriers to really operationalize against that question. And those pitfalls are really around having shaky ideal customer profiles and not having alignment at your organization around those, not using technology in an integrated, unified way so that data and intent and predictive analytics can help drive the right type of outreach to your target accounts. And then finally, having activation that isn't as good as it needs to be associated with the content that's going to enable your buyers to buy. I'm going to hand it over to Jacque because she's going to dig into each one of these areas and highlight how HubSpot can break through these barriers and pitfalls, whatever we want to call them, and help you be more successful with your strategy. So Jacque, over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Jonathan. So my plan today is to not just talk through some of these pitfalls and how we see them commonly with our clients that we work with and how we fix them, but also I'm going to give you the tactical. So I am in operations. I do this all day long with our clients. So I want to make sure that everybody walks away with something that they can do inside of their HubSpot portal to better utilize it for their ABM go-to-market plan. So we'll start with this Shaky ideal customer profile. There's a progression here, right? You either have no idea who your ICP is and you're just here marketing to everybody and selling to everybody, or you've done the work. You've sat in a room, you've gotten together, you've figured it out, you know who your ICP is, but you wrote it down in somebody's notebook and it's sitting in their desk, in their office, and you're not doing anything with it. Or you've actually put it into play inside of your HubSpot portal. You've done your drop downs, you've figured out your property, but you're not marking anybody as it. They're just sitting there. Or you do actually mark them, which is awesome. I hope you are there using your automation to mark the companies that come in with their different tiers, but you're not actually changing your content for those people. You're not actually helping your sales team to know who the contacts associated to those companies are and what they mean on the whole buying committee of that company. So Shaky ideal customer profile is one of the biggest common pitfalls that we see with all of our clients. And having a solid ICP is the foundation to a great ABM go-to-market motion. If you don't know who you're trying to sell to, and more specifically what their roles are at those target companies, you're really missing out and making this harder for yourself than it really needs to be. So, how well do you really know your buyers and the buying committee that it's there? So, if you're on the end of the progression line that we talked about and you have no idea who your ICP is, this is where you're going to start with the best practices. You're going to assess your best customers. Actually look at your data inside of HubSpot, see who has, the best sales cycle, the shortest sales cycle, and I don't mean your reps, I mean the companies and where they come from in their industries. Who's the one booking the meetings? What's their title? Where do they work? But also, who's the one signing the deal at the end? What's their title? Find the commonality between these. This is how you're going to be able to identify the buying committee on each of your different tiers for your target outcome or your target accounts that we're going to talk through. But also, don't just stop there. Talk to your customers. Find out why they came to you. What is it about your company that made them say yes and sign on the dotted line to work with you or use your product? But then don't forget to talk to your teams, not just your sales team either. They will tell you who they talk to in the sales process, but don't forget about your support and your service and your success teams. Who did they work with? It's just as important to understand who you associate with after the deal is closed as much as it is to understand who to target and talk to before the deal is closed. So if you're in the next phase of the progression line and you have documented your ICP, not just in a notebook or in a whiteboard like we talked about, make sure you put it into HubSpot. Actually utilize the work that you've done and looking at the data. Make sure that you are using automation to mark those companies as your ICP tiers that we're going to talk about in a second, and mark those contacts as who they are on the buying committee. Take the manual work out of it to make it easier for your teams to be able to really run with the data-driven knowledge that you're giving them. You're telling them specifically how to talk to these companies, how important they are, and how to speak to each individual person that's sitting on those meetings with them. But then the most important part, actually train your team. Tell them what you've done. Tell them why it's important for them to know who is sitting in each meeting, who they can anticipate will be a blocker within your buying committee, or who is most likely going to be the one that you need the yes from at the end that's going to sign. All of these things are really important. And the more that you equip them, especially with automated knowledge, the better off they're going to be in the process. Okay, I promise tactical. Let's get tactical. So I have some screenshots for you throughout our webinar today to show you exactly where in HubSpot and what it looks like that you can start to activate some of this. So I'm going to walk you through activating your ICP for your target accounts. You see right here, HubSpot does it for you. You have a property that's already there. That's your ideal customer profile with your 3 tiers. You can add to it if you would like. I don't suggest having more than 3 tiers though, but you always can customize it if needed. Now, before we really jump in, I do want to talk about one really important thing. This is available to HubSpot customers who have marketing and or sales hub, professional or enterprise. In RevOps world, we always like to talk about who gets access to the really cool and fun things that we like to share. So, as you can see here, this is your target account section inside of HubSpot. If you don't know how to get there, especially with the new UI change in HubSpot, because I'm sure it still throws a lot of us off as it does me, you can see at the top I have some breadcrumbs for you on how to find this. However, we see so often that our clients will just sporadically mark companies as target accounts. And then they'll show up here in this cool dashboard, and you'll see analytics based on open deal value or their sales cycles or how many deals are open, but they don't know what to do with it. So we're going to actually walk through how to mark each company in a specific tier, why you should do it, and then how to look at these analytics in a slightly different way so you can use them to make data-driven decisions. And because most companies don't just have one ideal customer profile, that's why the tiers are there. You might have an elite customer profile that's like the big whale that you always want to go after those. You'll mark those tier 1. You might have smaller companies that are like a tier 2, or maybe they're a different industry that's not your main industry, but you still target them. That's why you have the 3 options. And with the dropdown that you see in front of you, as you toggle between these tiers, your analytics actually do change that you can see right here. It's an awesome feature of HubSpot. So as you change them, the analytics associated with each tier will change as well. Don't worry, I'm going to walk through right now how to set these and how I recommend setting them inside of your HubSpot portal so that you can play with this analytic dashboard and see how it changes for you. Okay, now let's look at actually how to set up these tiers so then you can use the analytic dashboard. You'll see here, this is a list. Again, I have the breadcrumbs for you at the top in case you need to figure out how to get there. But I'm a huge proponent of actually utilizing these lists inside of your automations to be able to set things. I like the criteria better. Sometimes it's a little bit of a personal preference, but this is how we do things here with RevOps at New Breed. So you're going to make a company-based list. Super awesome. I love that we have these. We didn't always used to have these. So you're going to make a company-based list, 3 of them, because we have 3 tiers, remember. And the criteria that you see here, although I chose ideal customer profile, just so you could see the different criteria options, you're going to put in the criteria options for each of your tiers. So that might include the size of the company might make them tier 1, or their annual revenue, or their industry. Whatever the criteria is for you and your company for your ideal customer profile target accounts. That's what you're going to put here in the criteria for your list. Don't forget, again, make it company-based, but then turn around and make contact-based ones. These are for your buying committees. So you're going to talk about your blockers. You're going to talk about, your signers or your approvers. You're going to talk through, maybe your project managers or your coordinators. You want to know all of those in the buying committee so that you can target them with content individually. Oh, haha, the best part, the automation, at least in my opinion. So then you're going to create workflows. You're going to create 2 of them because remember, we have to do companies since it's most important. We need to do our target accounts, but then you're also going to create a contact one for your buying committees. So This screenshot is just an example of a different type of workflow that you might set up to be able to set these target accounts and their tiers for you. So you'll see I still have the breadcrumbs for you just in case, but also you can use pretty much anything you want as your enrollment criteria for this. I personally like to make sure that every company goes through. Maybe you want to be industry specific and you only want certain industries to go through your tiering. Totally up to you and your criteria. But then you're going to create the if-then branch. This is what's important. You want the if-then branch based on list membership of those lists that you just made for your different tiers. And it's going to end up looking just like this, because then you're going to be able to mark them as a target account. Super important, so they show up on that dashboard. Mark their tier that you see here so that they show up on the dashboard, but you can filter the analytics by them. Also really important. But then maybe you're going to route them to your sales team or do anything else you need to do once they're marked here. I'm a big proponent of consolidating workflows so you don't have too many. But don't forget to turn around and also create a contact-based one for this too. This is how you can actually activate your ICP once you have the criteria inside of your HubSpot. So then you can better equip your sales and marketing teams. So our next pitfall, non-integrated technology. There is seriously an incredible amount of software and technology out there, and there's more expanding every day. There's new ones being created. It's honestly insane. And a lot of them actually say that they're going to help you drive better results with your ABM. I'm sure you've seen the ads. I see them on LinkedIn. I'm sure you guys do too. But I want to talk through two that we work with as partners, so then you can choose, and why it's really important to actually analyze your software that you're about to say yes to and how it fits into your overall tech stack and make sure that things are integrated. Because honestly, there's a lot out there, and having a non-integrated tech stack, you're just making things harder for your teams to be able to activate and push out content and sell to your people. So, how integrated is your tech stack? Not only your marketing automation and your sales tools, but don't forget about your ads and your buying platforms. HubSpot is great because you can actually bring your social media right into HubSpot, bring those accounts in, bring those ads in. And the two softwares that I'm about to talk about also integrate with HubSpot, and they're great ABM tools. But first, I want to show you something. Does this slide make you dizzy too? Because it definitely makes me dizzy. Scott Brinker, who's the VP of Platform Ecosystem at HubSpot and was the panelist for New Breed last year, put out this diagram. It was his latest edition of the marketing technology landscape. From 9,932 softwares last year, the total solutions of the landscape has grown to 11,038. 11,038. This represents something like, 7,000 growth in the space over the last 12 years. No big deal. Not an issue. Unless you're trying to buy software to actually, implement an ABM go-to-market plan. But that's okay. We have some best practices to talk through for you. But at the top of it, we're going to steal a line from Scott Brinker. The most important thing is to keep your tech stack simple. If you can utilize HubSpot for pretty much everything, I highly suggest it. HubSpot is great because it has all of the platforms and things are integrated. We're going to talk in a second about some options in case you do need some ABM media buying, which I highly suggest still. But first, have your plan before you go and search for tech, because just adding technology is not going to make things better. Find what works for you. And I'm clicking too fast today. And that's where all of these come into play. So you'll see here, we work with both RollWorks and 6 Sense. But why both? We actually get this question a lot. Why are we partners with both? And why wouldn't we choose which is better? Because that depends on you. That depends on your company and your company's needs and your company's goals. That's what's going to dictate which one is better for you. Your revenue operations strategist is happy to talk through which one makes more sense for you. But as you can see here, they are very different. They are both, ABM softwares that can help with buying and media buying, but they're different. But they are both integrated with HubSpot to help things flow and, still have segmented lists. It's still very important to sit down and have a goal and a plan, but find the software that supports that. And our last pitfall, kind of my favorite, maybe not with the automations, but weak content or no activation within your content. We have so many clients who do all this work. You figured out your ICP, you activated them in HubSpot, you have the software that works for you that helps with your ABM media buying, but then your content is just still to the masses. It's not, specific. It's not segmented. You're still just putting everything out there to everyone. I'm going to show you my favorite trick to do more with less inside of HubSpot, specifically with your content. Because do you even have a highly personalized content? Because you really should. That's what makes ABM so special. You can create highly personalized content, but only create one piece of content. And I'm going to show you how. So here's some best practices that I really strongly suggest before you get into the how. Audit, make sure that you actually look at your content, see where the gaps are, see where maybe people aren't engaging as much as you would like them to, or you're surprised by. Do you have an omni-channel approach? Because it's still very important nowadays to have an omni-channel approach. And are you repurposing your ABM content, or are you just coming up with something new every time? Because you can definitely repurpose your content. Okay, here's the cool. So I have for you the breadcrumb at the top in case you need to figure out how to get there. But I highly suggest creating smart rules for your emails. This is how you're going to be able to create one email for all 3 of your tiers for your target accounts and have it still be personalized. So you see here, you have these modules, right? Like you do in your drag and drop emails inside of HubSpot. If you do the smart rule variation and you actually turn on and create different options for your smart rule, that means you can actually create different content in that same email per your target accounts. You're going to do it with list membership over here. Because remember, we send emails to contacts. So you do have to have contact lists for this, even though they're target accounts. The big thing I like to point out, right? We're in RevOps. Who gets this? Marketing Hub and Content Hub professional or enterprise customers have access to smart rules inside of their marketing emails. It just means that you're going to be able to set this up on a module, toggle between the 3 that you see on the left, and edit the content that's in front of you. You can do different pictures, you can do different text, you can do different buttons, CTAs, call to actions, everything is there for you to change. And then the really cool part is you're going to send one email. You're going to send it to your list, and it's going to be tailored to the people who open it based on the contact list that they're a part of, so that you can have personalized content for your ABM strategy without trying to push out 4, 5 emails just so you can have personalized content. Trying to remember which list to send to for this specific email. One email, one list, personalized content. This is one of my favorite tips to actually be able to help our customers with when it comes to their activation. But with everything, there's still one more. So here's the big thing. Once you activate your content, you need to make sure that people are actually still engaging on it, because those people that engage are still very important. This is a beta that HubSpot is rolling out for lead scoring. And being a top partner or getting to work with a top partner we find out what's coming down the pipeline before others. This is the new thing that HubSpot is doing to constantly be better at allowing you to do ABM go-to-market inside of their platform. You're going to be able to do account scoring, like real account scoring, not like, how RevOps hacks account scoring now. It's actually going to roll up for you all of the different people on the buying committee and how much they're, and, clicking and getting associated with all of the different content. That's going to roll up into the engagement score that you see. Or you can make one specific to setting your ICP based on a fit score. Maybe you don't want to do a list. Maybe you want to do this new version. You can do this with HubSpot's new lead scoring beta that's coming out. It really truly is a game changer, and they're constantly trying to find ways for you to better send personalized content to your target accounts so that you can actually have a full ABM go-to-market motion inside of HubSpot. They're constantly happening, and they're trying to make things more efficient and effective for you. That's my tactical. That's how you can actually activate all of this inside of HubSpot. And I'm going to send it back to Jonathan.
All right. Thank you, Jackie. Very appreciated, and love the deep dive and showing specific things that we can do within the technology in order to unlock some of these areas. So if you enjoyed today's event, we also have another around some of the best practice and some research that supports a lot of what we discussed today. So you could put a note into the Q&A to get access to that. We did promise a 30-minute event. We try to keep our sessions tight to the point and make sure that we deliver the most impact we possibly can for y'all. So we will follow up with any questions that people ask directly in the channel. I also want to highlight that we do offer an ABM blueprint. During this process, we'll work with you to help define your ideal customer profile as it relates to your account-based approach. Really dig deep into some of the tech configurations and integrations that you might have, and then support on what an activation strategy can really look like for your organization to really accelerate your ABM program. So if you're interested in learning more and collaborating with our team on really going from where you are today to a more mature ABM profile, please scan the code and reach out, and we'll be in touch shortly as well. So I think it hit the next slide. ABM has been around for a little while now. I'm pretty fortunate. I was probably one of the very early adopters on embracing intent data before it was actually in tools and platforms, and it was literally a feed of data that you were working to operationalize. But I don't believe ABM was necessarily invented then. It's been around for a long time. We even have David Ogilvy, who I think says it most eloquently. Don't count the people you reach, but reach the people who count. And I think you highlighted a lot of the specific ways that we can do that within HubSpot today. So thank you, Jackie, and thank you to everybody who joined us. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the session. And if you want more content, please come see us at Inbound. Jackie's going to be there answering questions on the floor. If you're joining the event, I'm going to be speaking, I think not just twice, but 3 times, twice around the state of HubSpot, and then one around some deep dive into revenue planning as well. We have so much going on at Inbound, and if you're interested in learning around some custom agendas that we've got working, you can reach out to us as well. But really excited for the event, and we'll be there with some of our partners as well. So excited to see y'all, and continuing to unlock meaningful growth together, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.